We are now live again, Jax. Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Not Your Heroes podcast. And I am.
Oh, hello.
Hello. Well, today's game in the background is called Half Dead 3. I'm open. Remember the film The Cube, Jax?
I do. I was a big fan of The Cube.
That's what this game is, basically.
Yeah, it was a fantastic Christopher Lambert series of films. I believe there was at least one sequel where they had to go back. But yeah.
Oh, the
Christopher Lambert.
Fucking hell, that's just okay. That room seems easiest to deal with.
Yeah, mostly.
Oh, that's just spraying acid everywhere. Okay. Well,
I mean, these all do look like sets from the TV show Nightmare. Now, young traveller, what do you wish to do? Take advice from your friends?
I've got my boot.
Harry, take 6 steps to the centre.
Let's throw my boot in this room. What's in this room?
You don't know. So yes, in the wonderful world of pop culture, a few things have happened in the last few weeks.
Which are?
I think the namesake of the episode is going to be the
biggest
talking points.
Yeah, the Daredevil episode is just. Oh, this one seems easy to go through.
This new series,
Ow.
Born Again, I think has been excellent. It is. I wouldn't say it has surpassed the Netflix stuff, but it is on par with it and going.
Ow.
And I like the direction it's going in.
Ow.
Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk is just once again absolutely fantastic and on point. And yeah, Charlie Cox is Daredevil. You can't argue with that.
No, you can't.
You cannot argue with that. I'm loving all the Easter eggs and cameos and things that we've been getting and knockarounds. Especially last episode with the possible cameo from Miles Morales' dad.
I know, right? We got Officer Morales mentioned, and I went, "Wait a minute, Miles."
So yeah, I mean, that's in the same universe now. We've seen Miles' uncle and Miles' dad.
I love that we've seen his uncle, and his uncle got webbed to a car. That was the first fucking meeting of his. Okay.
Which is funny because his, as some people do or don't know, his uncle does become the villain known as Prowler.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Miles, I'm going to be late home. It's okay, Uncle Aaron. Dude, this is my car.
Yeah. So, but with the last two episodes though have been absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
last episode introduced
today's episode was beautiful. The episode before it was just that was a death room.
Like I said, each episode is getting better than the one previous to it. The legal stuff with the White Tiger I really liked it.
I did.
What I was missing from She-Hulk Attorney at Law. You know,
it's weird because we want. I will say this. It's a bit weird, right? So with the She-Hulk show, people wanted attorneys for superheroes, like a legal drama, and the writing crew of that show went, "We can't write a legal drama." Daredevil Born Again's crew went, "Hold my beer."
You want massive brawler fights because we're going to start getting massive brawler fight scenes. But you want brawler fight scenes, you want violence, we'll give you that. You want an actual good cult scene when there's a cult scene to be had? Oh yeah. It's so weird because especially because the two shows are comparable. They're about superheroes that are also lawyers, so these things are comparable.
God, Groot.
And what gets me, and I think is really annoying, is that for She-Hulk, they could have made that show awesome by just making it Ally McBeal with a superhero fight in it. You've got your perfect combination of things there, and it would have suited that show perfectly. But yeah, no, we had a great court scene, and a few big. I don't really want to try and hit for too many spoilers throughout all of it, but a few good hints as to what's going to happen.
Oh yeah, we've had Hector's like whole court scene, and it's a sad thing that the actor. Let's talk about episode 3. To be fair, the whole court with Hector Ayala and like the White Tiger, and the fact that Matt's losing it because the witness turns on them at the last second.
Yeah,
and then it's like
he bottles it.
It's like he keeps using his like enhanced his hearing to listen to the heartbeats of people, and then you slowly I'm starting to realize that he's not realizing that people are when they're telling the truth or lying to him. He's actually he's not getting it right.
No, I think he is. I mean, but I think he's relying on it too heavily at the minute. Which is the main thing. He's not, and he's forcing these things out on people. Like that guy, he was telling the truth. He was telling the truth up until that last minute where he turned around and went, I can't do this. And that's when his heart went crazy. So they are working right.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think he's over-reliance of it. He's not, I think they're trying to show that he's overcompensating. This is my opinion. I don't know if it's true. I don't know what the right answer, but I think it is them trying to show that he's overcompensating because he's not using this anymore. Patrol, almost like he's trying to be more not confrontational with them, but more offensive with them in his day-to-day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so also the last episode we had a couple of bigger things. Because they were so awful with how they pulled off. I can't remember his last name now.
What?
Urich. Ben Urich.
Yeah.
They killed in the Netflix show. They killed him off.
Yeah.
Very, very early on.
We got his daughter instead.
Is it his daughter or is it his granddaughter?
It's his niece. Sorry.
No. The niece is the niece of the White Tiger. It is a direct. I do believe it is a direct line.
I think it is his granddaughter. I think it is. Yeah, it's her grandfather. She mentions it as.
Yeah.
That's a weeping angel.
So it's nice to have a Urich
That's
in
a
there,
dragon.
and it's a B Urich. But I think with one of the things they could have done though, and because it is technically a soft reboot, where they can change one or two little things, one of the things I would have changed was to bring back Ben Urich, because he's one of the great reporters in the show, but I've got a horrible feeling they've only brought another B Urich in to have her killed off, to prove a point to that, and that's unfortunate.
Well,
I mean, she is the reporter at this point. In the most recent episode, she is the reporter that outs or makes that story about Fisk being dodgy still. So she's put a target on her back.
do you notice how he handled his staff member in the latest episode, though? It was very uncharacteristic.
Yes and no. This guy has been very good to Fisk. He's actually given him some good information in which the advisor hasn't, and we saw from this episode, in this last episode, she said a few things which shows that actually, yeah, she's a career politician. She knows that mayors and their assistants disappear every few years, so she's only telling him what he needs to know to do what he needs to do, not what's best for everyone. And this young guy's like, no, I'm only here for Fisk. And Fisk knows that. And then the fact that as well, in Fisk's past, not many people would stand up and go, it was me, to his face. It was me, it was my fault.
No, they'd have gone, no.
I'm taking responsibility. And that's a thing that Fisk will have a bit of respect for. He's not done this to humiliate him. He's not. In fact, standing there in front of him right there like that and prostrating himself is a sign of respect. So I think Fisk took that and he's seen that. He's now got someone. This is his new Wesley. That is the key. This is his new guy.
Oh, that's not bad.
But he gives him that warning. You do this again, you're gone. And what's great there is that look in. I know I've jumped to a part in the first episode, but there is a great look between the two of them there, and an understanding, and you know this kind, and the fact that it's James Gandolfini's son playing that character. You know, the Soprano's son. Technically, it's actually quite a nice scene.
Oh yeah, but what is it? Though the Hector Hour episode, though, the fact that he's losing the case because the witness turns to them, and then he reveals the fact that Hector is the White Tiger.
Mm-hmm.
And you watch as even the cops and as they mention Officer Morales, Officer this, Officer that. I'm like, these are all names that I know. I swear that one of the officers' names, by the way, was Officer Stacy, by the way, as well.
It may have been. I've got to rewatch.
I've got to rewatch episode 3, but it's I was like, wait a minute, did you just mention both Miles and Stacy? Are you hinting here that we both have Gwen Stacy and Miles Morales in this universe? But yeah, in regards to the way it's such, we could. Well, yeah, we've got the very odd thing of it would also allow them to start, because we have had with No Way Home One More Day, the most controversial comic, you'll agree, in Spider-Man history.
Well, it's still causing problems today with certain things. In that sort of storyline, there was a storyline recently where people started to remember the events because I think they were getting together and getting closer again, and people then started to regain their memories of what happened before the events of One More Day, and they were not happy.
Hey, look, this is a reference to the Cube. Well, look, reference the Cube, because they were fucking, and they got spaced.
It's been a very long time since out of all the Christopher Lambert films, it's not the one that I go to, if I'm honest.
Ow.
Everyone should know by now it's Highlander 2.
Ah, shit! Ow. Giant scorpion.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep running around in a circle. Open the doors.
Yeah, no, massive Highlander fan. You've got to love the Highlander films.
Oh, Highlander.
And
that is a fucking worm.
And all of its spin-offs and extras.
You gotta be kidding me.
Why isn't the worm fighting the...
It doesn't. Scorpion? It just spins around in a circle. I got killed by the worm. I got killed by the spider.
Couldn't you take the thingy into the fire room?
And then it explodes for no reason other than an explosion.
Oh, we'll see for the next round. Yeah, because that was a weird set of film. I know we're skipping from Daredevil for a bit. We'll go back there. But yeah, that is a weird timeline.
Yeah, it's a weird
canonicity
films. But the main thing is, episode 3 is so good that he gets him acquitted. Hector's so happy about being acquitted because there are a lot of things that do happen in episode 3, but we have Fit. We get to see more Fit. We get to see the gang war that's slowly starting to unfold as well.
Mm-hmm. Which I don't know whether or not is part of Fisk's plan.
Well, he says, out of chaos, peace will reign. I think he wants them to do it because I think the reason he's trying to do it is because, think about it, Kingpin doesn't won't need the families anymore, remember? I think he basically wants at this point to eliminate them all so he can take control of all of it himself. He's trying to be
100%.
Oh yeah, 100%. His plan is to take control of himself. He wants them to start a gang war because then he can bring the full force of the NYPD down on them.
Well, yeah.
And
One of the things I think you're going to start seeing is him rebuilding getting ready for the end of his 4 years by rebuilding his empire again, but with legitimate sources. So they're going to be cops on his payroll as part of his security detail for life because of being the mayor and stuff like that.
Yeah. That's a room full of acid. And not the good kind.
Saying to spat acid at you.
Why did I open that door? I knew where that door led. That's a room I've never seen before.
Oh, another game with a killer treat.
This dude's just having a freak out in this room.
Yep. So yeah, the final scene. I don't know how much you want to tell people about, but yeah,
the final scene of that episode though is it's brutal.
It's very good.
It
but
is.
it shows someone doing something in a Punisher shirt.
Yeah.
But no face.
No face. Just some dude's shot.
Yeah. And then the next episode is basically Matt Murdock trying to work out what happened there, as well as coming to terms with the realization of where he is at this moment in time.
Yeah.
I really like.
Is that a crab with a claymore?
Probably. But yeah, one of the things about Leroy being arrested, which I just thought was quite interesting, was the name of the snacks, because I have seen these snacks. Fiddle Faddle are real snacks. But it is also out in America as well. It has a second term. It means nonsense. So it's quite funny in a weird way is that Leroy was put in prison for nonsense. Absolute rubbish. And it kind of is true. The way he explains it, I stole a $5 box of confectionery.
Yeah.
And they're going to put me in prison for 30 days. And they want to put me in prison for 30 days. How is that cost effective? Why don't they just feed me? Give me food stamps. Yeah, and it's quite interesting. But yeah, you see Matt is not only failing as he's not really failing as a lawyer. Like, he did a good job. He did as well as he could for that guy, but the city's falling down around him. So he's sort of sitting there thinking, well, what more can I do? How better can I
help?
Do anything?
And then that's the episode afterwards though. The end of that episode is just of Hector just putting on the mask. He's like, Matt warned him, don't put the mask on again. You're going to have to give this up.
Oh, yeah, once they know your face, you're a target. And your family's a target.
You need to give this up. And it's just then he puts the mask on. It's a symbolic thing of him walking down the street, and then that dude just steps out, point blank, to the head, just shoots him, and you're just like, oh no. You're just like, no. You know what I mean? It's like, no. It's just
that was
bang.
One of the things, and that was a really great ending, like I said, with the whole Punisher symbol reveal as well.
Like anyone who's watched the Daredevil, the Netflix series, their brain immediately is, that's not Frank.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because Frank doesn't go after the innocent.
And he was proven innocent. In fact, the one person that would go after someone that was found not guilty after a crime was Daredevil, because he would have seen what they got away with to get away with their crime, to have it quashed. So he would then dispense justice after the fact.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is a very weird one. How do I get out of this room?
You must stay now.
No, I've escaped. Never going back. Oh, it's the bar.
What else?
But yeah, it's just that point, he's walking down the street wearing the suit, and then bam. Oh, that was an ending to an episode. And then we get the episode after, and the start of the next episode is, them bagging all of his stuff up and everything.
Well, also, yes, there was that. One thing I would like to say about the previous episode, though, before we do, is I found it interesting how many times they refer to the amulet as a mystical amulet.
Mm-hmm.
So they're very much pointing out that these characters, when you see them again, because that has got to be the only reason why, when you see that amulet again on a hero, you're going to know they're not an inhuman, they're not a mutant. This is something magical.
Magic.
So I'm wondering if, I know the next thing is meant to be the mutant saga, but I'm wondering if maybe the subplot to the mutant saga may be a mystical one.
Could be Krakoa. The whole saga could literally be the Krakoan Islands appearing off the coast of the world and everyone realising what the heck that's after stuff. Because I have a feeling, I'm dead.
I think they would deal with the Krakoa stuff within the mutant movies and TV shows that will be out, because in all fairness, the X-Men and the mutant stuff is its own franchise. Have it connected with the rest of the MCU, that makes sense. But on a serious note, they shouldn't be slotted in with the rest of the MCU movie stuff. They should be have their own movies, their own TV series on their own schedule to them.
Unfortunately, we both know that's not going to happen.
I mean,
it's not.
I know that's probably not going to happen, but that's how they would maximise their money.
It is, but they are going to join the MCU, and I have a feeling that they will be. They will, because as noted, since the Avengers team is changing and rostering, we do need to have the two X-Men that join the Avengers eventually join the Avengers.
That's very true. But like I say, on the other side of that is that within pretty much the rest of Marvel, there's loads of groups within the rest of Marvel.
Yeah.
But there's none really that can rival the Avengers. In fact, the only ones that do are also called Avengers. They're either West Coast Avengers, East Coast Avengers, Avengers Incarnate, whatever. But literally on a side note to that, then you've got the mutant stuff, which has teams just as big and just as powerful. These are rival groups in many ways. And the amount of lore there to explore is just as big as the rest of Marvel.
Oh yeah, but I have a feeling in the movies they don't want to explore the lore as, much as like in the comics. They want to give the baseline level stuff of all these fat characters.
Oh yeah. But it is a unique point where, they can show that.
Oh crap,
This is the other thing that I was surprised they never did with the MCU's phases they were, is that if you did introduce a West Coast Avengers and an East Coast Avengers, that way at the end of every that way you could have an Avengers film every other year technically, and then at the end of a saga all of those groups come together, or a selection of all the different groups come together to get the big Avengers film at the end, along with your. And so basically, you can have a mini Avengers movie intermixed within the other single character films, and they won't be going after big, grand, world-ending events, but just something that who the heroes couldn't do on their own. Like I say, that think they're going to streamline.
They are. I feel like we're gonna get probably, considering also Marvel's thing of wanting to do the modern iterations of stuff. I do feel we're just gonna get the Krakoa storyline of.
I think we will. I think a lot of what the next stage of stuff is going to be what Hickman and those era of guys did.
Oh yeah.
It's quite interesting though, because that era, especially the beginning of that era, was kind of mildly inspired by it and sort of mixed in with the original X-Men films, which was those plain black leather costumes.
Oh no.
Which no one liked. My big thing I'm really interested in now at the moment is just what's going to happen with this Fantastic Four film. I'm so excited with that.
Oh yeah, I am excited with that. The Fantastic Four movie is brilliant. The trailer, just the little teaser so far has made me go, I want to watch this so bad because it just looks so good. Like to not knock on Daredevil or anything, but I'm genuinely, lovingly excited for this Fantastic Four movie in July. It's just. Is it July? Is Fantastic Four? Or is that Thunderbolts? I can't remember.
Thunderbolts is the next one that's coming up with the Century.
Yeah, for Thunderbolts, and then I can't wait for Thunderbolts either. I actually really can't wait for that one because Yelena is awesome, and I love fucking I love I can't remember his name. David thingy.
Yeah, David Harbour.
David Harbour. I love him. I love his character. Red Guardian is hilarious. Is it Red Guardian? I can't remember if that's the correct name.
Yeah, he's the Red Guardian, yeah.
I love him. He's flipping hilarious. I fought Captain America once. No, you didn't. Yes, I did.
Well, yes, he did.
He did in the comics.
Yes,
in the MCU, no. Remember?
Yes, he did. They've already answered this question. He didn't fight Steve Rogers as Captain America.
Oh, who did he fight?
Well, this is now becomes the issue, because so they have said he did fight Captain America. So now for some reason he's sure it was Steve Rogers. Now that's only because of what he says in the film. He's been in prison for quite a long time, and in that Russian one, I don't know whether.
Did you also notice that Ursa Major was in that prison? Another mutant.
Oh yeah. My point being, maybe he doesn't know that the Captain America with the Avengers is a white dude, which means he would have fought Isaiah Bradley, who would have been around at that time.
Who then got locked up after saving his friends, his men.
Yeah, or there was another super soldier program running.
There we go. No.
I'm getting so many messages. I'm going to put myself in the silent. I don't want to get this, man. But
that's
where was sorry. Let's see what room will kill you next.
The one I'm in right now.
Yeah, we like I said, there's so many options that they can pick up with. I think with the Fantastic Four film, the big bit of excitement for me is
finally Galactus gets to be Galactus.
Finally seeing Galactus, man. I care more about that than I do about Doctor Doom and Robert Downey Jr. and all of the other crap that's going on. Just give me a decent looking Galactus. With the Thunderbolts as well, I got to say, I am interested in that because I do like the Sentry as a character. I do like the Void as a character and how they interact within themselves.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I am interested. Not majorly as much as I was for Brave New Worlds, because I was very excited for that. It was upon a second and third watch. It's a bit clunky.
There are bits. Like, don't get me wrong, absolutely love the movie. I'm not going to say I hate it.
Liked it.
I love it.
I liked it. I really liked it.
It's just not as. It is a bit clunky, and even I'll admit it's a bit clunky. It's not the best.
They messed up so much silly things.
But there were apparently there were a lot of reshoots of that film now. And that's the other problem with it.
Yeah, that's a big problem that they're having with a lot of Marvel movies. Is because of the old way that they were doing things, and they're coming to the end of that now. So the guy in charge has sort of put steps in place. We have discussed this before, but the way that they used to do it, and this is how they did it from literally the first set of Avengers movies. This is a hangover from the old days of Iron Man 1 and the first Captain America and the Incredible Hulk film. Was they would be writing the main part of the script up, but all the big CGI action stuff they had already written, and that gets sent off. So they go work on that first, and that's like a year. But in that time, they finish the script. But once they finish the script and they start filming, they get all the other bits in. They've already got the CGI, so actually, it's a shorter run time to get a whole filming process. But when you then start dealing with multiple films, as in you're doing sequels,
or a massive continuity universe that needs to link together.
Which is the thing. So what they were doing was they weren't just doing sequels; they were doing interconnected universes over multiple films. Over multiple sequels within those own films that would all culminate into one massive movie, which would mean you would expect that would mean a lot of people communicating, and it wasn't. What was actually happening was people were given a few notes about other people's movies, basically, and told to write their own thing. They would send off for these great big sci-fi extravaganzas like they used to. And in the early days, it was fine. You would get your bits, you do a few reshoots and a touch up, and it's fine. But then you started getting, actually, you've just done something that really screws up the storyline of what we're doing. So you've got to reshoot it. And then, as it got more and more, actually, now we've got 13 films going on.
Yeah.
You can't do this because this is happening, and you can't do that because this is happening. Oh, but we'd already sent this off to be animated a year ago. Right, it's all got to be redone. Or you reshoot around it. It's like crazy. But yeah, so it's going to take longer for us to get these films, which is fine. Just as long as they're good.
Yeah.
And they're not jumbled messes, which is what we started to get.
Yeah, which I am one of those people that firmly believes the reason we got it is because of this method, and let's be honest, they've had to change their big bad. Like they were gearing up for this phase. They've said it multiple times in interviews prior to the firing of Jonathan Majors that he came in. They thought, he's going to be a one-off villain he was originally going to be a one-off villain in Ant-Man. That was it, and they were going to save him for much later. But he came in, and Jonathan Majors is a powerful actor. Like he's and the fact that they came in and they basically went, no, make him the bad guy because that's it. We need Kang.
Yeah, I've got someone I've got, and I agree with you, 100% agree, because that was what was happening until the events of what happened. Mm-hmm. But a few things have been pointed out that I've been watching. And also, I mean, we've mentioned this before. There was actually a conversation that I was listening to online. We spoke about it on one of our podcasts, where they were talking as if there was always meant to be.
Find out what happened.
There was always meant to be another villain for this run. Kang was never the ultimate villain, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, maybe that's true. Maybe that's not. Maybe that's just them saving face." But here's the thing someone pointed out recently. Secret Wars and Doomsday. Kang's Dynasty is the one that got changed, which was the third of the Avengers films.
Mm-hmm.
Secret Wars was always there.
Yeah.
And what is in every comic book version? Who is the protagonist of the Secret Wars?
Well, do you mean
Doom.
or the Beyonder? Or did you forget
Doom's the one.
Or did you forget the original Secret Wars?
No, I didn't. But who took ultimate power of the villains?
True. Doom. Well, to be fair,
Doom stories. And I was like, oh shit, yeah, Doom was always meant to be there. And then you hear the story about Robert Downey Jr. First talking about coming back or having that conversation, and then something happened, and then there was a time frame, and something happened where he was invited to see something with Kevin Feige, and what he saw was so big he had to then say yes to it. Well, someone else pointed out that timeline, even then, has to have been before the events of James Masters.
Jonathan Majors.
Sorry, Jonathan Majors. Yeah, Jonathan Majors. And I was like, oh shit. So yeah, it's very possible that very little actually story-wise has been changed, except for literally the most present films, which would have been the next Avengers film, which is Kang Dynasty.
Yeah, it's just Doomsday that's changed, but I have a feeling that the other thing that's also possibly changed is due to how poorly received like one of the really good films in this set of phases was, in my opinion. The Eternals did very badly compared to what they wanted to do.
Yeah,
I feel like they got put on they were originally probably going to have more of a thing in it, and I think they're going to have very much less of a.
Once again, this is another film that had issues with changes to script last minute. The other problem it had was everything surrounding it, everything that it was passing on. Its sequels, its spin-offs, all of them died on the vine pretty much just before this film came out, or was already on massive delays by the time the film came out. It had the second evil of being released at one of the worst times for films to be released.
Yep.
So not many people went to go and see it, and because they were characters that, and I wouldn't say you need to be a hardcore reader of comics, but you need to be more than an average reader of comics to come across the Eternals pretty much in Marvel.
Oh yeah, they're not a mainstream character. But also, to put out another fact about that though as well, Jax, right?
Yeah.
That was the same thing for the Guardians of the Galaxy before they came out.
Very true.
Everyone loves to forget that the Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Captain America were actually some of the least popular characters when they came out as films. We don't forget it. I can give you a whole 6-hour lecture on everything that happened and was going on with Marvel at that time. I know. The only difference I would put out here, that although they were they weren't the most popular characters, i.e. the Guardians of the Galaxy, what they did have was a very, very outspoken cult following. Especially that particular, because that's another thing to sort of that is forgotten about this era, is that the actual Guardians of the Galaxy that we get on screen wasn't the mainline run of Guardians of the actual Guardians in comics at that time. Nope.
They came back because of the popularity of the show. That was the thing on the films, and that's was quite funny about a lot of the fans of the comic books not being big fans of the movie, because one of the things that they didn't have right was the costume, but that's because they weren't allowed to use the modern costume. and even though Gunn wanted it, they got it close. They got it as close as they could in the final film. The actual costume that those guys would have worn. So it's quite funny. It's very funny. But the Eternals, even so, were more. Once again, they had a couple of good comic runs, and I think they did have a standard monthly run. But they were always used more as love interests or friends of other characters that were brought in. If they needed a god, that they would. One of the ones that they could easily just wander to if they couldn't get Thor. For a particular story, like, we'll get Cersei. There we go. She's fine. So yeah, it was an odd choice. It really was. And I get it. They wanted to do a space series of films where the Celestials will be involved. Then you could then start going on to other planets, and that was the whole reason of introducing Sword, was because they wanted to start doing exoplanet stuff, and then you're going to have Nova. You could have all these great things, and it just
well, we're apparently still getting a Nova series eventually.
No, but the one that was highlighted has been put on hiatus.
Oh yeah, we know they're going to put them on hiatus over time. It's just one of those unfortunate things.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, they're going through restructuring, and with I think also some of the stuff that's happening over in the land of the Yanks is probably affecting you.
There's good. I mean, it's definitely going to be a lot of things going to happen, and I think they're only going to focus on really the stuff that is guaranteed money makers right now, which I do find very funny with a lot of these AI generated. What is the best way to put them? Drama bots on YouTube. Talking about, at the moment, they're talking about how pretty much all of them is how Ryan Reynolds has been fired from Disney, and even Hugh Jackman won't talk to him anymore over his petty woke behaviour. Although a month ago, all the stories were how Ryan Reynolds, all these same bot things were saying how Ryan Reynolds stormed into Disney, telling them he'll never work with them again because they're too woke.
You mean they can't keep their these bots or these grifters that can't keep this? Sorry, but have you ever seen them? Have you seen the anti-woke grifters devouring themselves over Monster Hunter World?
It doesn't matter. Either way, it doesn't matter in this case. These things are prevalent on YouTube, but this one was fantastic. It was how it was trying to say how Disney were going to get rid of Ryan Reynolds because of the situation over his wife Blake Lively, and how Ryan Reynolds is actually causing a problem with one of their other shows because the person that him and his wife are accusing of problems is doing a show for them. And I thought, I'll check some of this stuff out. Yeah, there is a slight connection there with one of their production companies, but let's put it this way. Ryan Reynolds made them just over $1 billion.
Yep.
This dude's made them $100 billion total. Who do you think they're keeping in this fight, motherfucker?
Also, the dude, whatever his name, Baldroni or some bullshit.
I can't even remember. I don't care. He's lost this battle.
No. The dude, the guy that they're all about, oh yeah, I'm sat there in my brain just going, who's this guy? I hadn't heard of him until he started beefing with Ryan Reynolds and Blake.
I've heard of him before. I've seen some bits that he's done. I weren't really a fan, if I'm honest. But, that's just because they're not my sort of films. A lot of what Blake Lively does are not my kind of films. It's got nothing to do with her at all. It's neither here nor there. It's like I say, I just like the fact that they're trying to come up with these things. I was like, even if you do go just down to the money, right? Even if any of this was true, and just look at the money. Ryan Reynolds has made Disney the most money they've made in years. they're going to beg him and Hugh Jackman to make another 3 of those films, even if they diminish at 10% each film in profits. Disney are happy people. Why would they keep a 2-bit director?
Yeah. Why would they keep a guy that doesn't... Also, why would they keep a guy that essentially that is already proving himself to be too toxic for their own business because he's starting a fight with people and trying to...
Well, I mean, it's the fact that there's text message evidence of exactly what his creepiness is, so it kind of doesn't matter. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I thought in any way he was being fitted up, or actually thought he was being fitted up, I'll be standing up and be like, no, fuck it, fuck him. But I don't think so. So, you know...
No, because isn't there evidence, there's evidence to prove that he has done what he's being accused of.
I mean,
have you not seen the one thing I remember about him? The only thing I remember about him is, do you remember when in Deadpool and Wolverine, the "I'm also a feminist" line from?
Yes.
He keeps trying to claim that was him. That was aimed at him.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's Ryan aiming it at himself because Ryan's very much self-depreciating humour. Oh,
yes and no. For me, that always went to me. There was a series of adverts which involved Chris Evans, funny enough, in which it was all these people going, "I am a feminist. I am a feminist. I am a feminist," and yet.
Oh, there you little tiny little bastard.
Both male and female. Multiple people that were on that video said, "I am a feminist," were spousal abusers. Yay! So that's what I thought that was. That was a big act. You know, I consider myself a feminist. I'm like, oh shit, that's funny.
Well, I'm going to say one thing. Before we come back, we're going to take a quick 10-minute break before we come back and have a look at the next and go over the second episode of Daredevil. We've kind of not got over. We got distracted talking about Marvel and Disney as usual, as we are wont to do. We are nerds, and they are our kind of the things we talk about.
We will always sidetrack.
Yeah, we'll sidetrack. It's kind of what happens on this show. So we'll be back in about, give it 10-15 minutes. So I'm going to go get a drink. Is that right? And you feel free to get a drink yourself, Jax. And we're back.
Back.
I just changed the game to the background to Space Rain for a bit.
It doesn't rain in space.
No, but I will hold the reins of space.
Yeah. Yes, so
Yeah.
the fourth and most recent episode of Daredevil.
That episode, so much happened in this episode. Like, it starts off with Matt. We talked about it briefly earlier in today's podcast. It started off with Matt going, with Matt and the whole, he's trying to find Hector's killer. He's collecting Hector's stuff. Then Hector's niece comes in and wants to see her uncle, and he's saying, no, you don't. And he's like, you know what I mean? And it's like, Jesus, it's one of those things. It straight up starts up just going,
it's quite interesting because what he's got there is quite a mirror to his own character, because it's a young person who is now full of rage over the death of a loved one and someone that was obviously a protector of the family, in the same way as what happened when Matt Murdock's dad was murdered. He was that kid with all that anger.
Yeah.
And in the same way, it was an injustice of what happened as well. So yeah, you've got that kind of connection going on between the two. And I mean, it's quite obvious that I think for most people, if you've read the comics or sort of take the context, she's definitely going to be the next
She's the
one
second
in line
one.
for the amulet.
She's the second one.
Yeah. But I don't think it's going to be her mum, because in the comic books it was her mum first, if I remember correctly.
It might be the mother. It might be her show is her mother's the one that takes up the amulet first, and
Yeah, I just don't think. I think it will just start out with the kid using it. I don't think it's going to be the mum. I don't see that. Yeah, mostly because if they make it the mum, there is a limited year span you can get out of an actor. Really, seriously, in those sort of roles, and I think what they really want is actors that they're going to be able to use for the next 10 to 15 years.
oh yeah.
That's why we're seeing a Young Avengers being built up.
People go, no, I do love every time we get Young Adventures mentioned, people, not in our comments, but like, whenever you see it mentioned, like any of these other shows that talk about the same things we do, you get it mentioned, people seem to go, oh, no one wants that. Oh, no one wants to. I'm like, if no one wants it, then why are they quite one of the better selling series of the Avengers?
Comic books, yeah. They've been very, their original run of Young Avengers was incredibly popular. Yeah. It's quite sad. One of the sad facts about us losing Kang, in all honesty, is the fact that we now kind of lose access to my favourite part of the Young Avengers was when Lad bloody starts it.
Because the Avengers get their ass handed to them.
Yeah, and they need someone to take over, and all of a sudden, someone in Iron Man-like costume, who's a young kid, starts up a Young Avengers group and pulls people out of nowhere. Oh, wait a minute. Who is it? It's fucking Immortus as a young boy. Yeah. Oh, wait, who's Immortus if you're the uninitiated?
It's Kang. It's the one with Kang that's good.
Well, it's the one singular version of it. It's the one Kang that took the name Immortus, the protector of time. He's still an arse. I mean, calling.
To be fair, you know what made me absolutely laugh, and it's about a different show. The X-Men 97 was fair. X-Men 96, not 97.
Yeah.
The finale of, I think it's the second to last season, or the last season, where all the psychics are being stolen. It took me, I will say this, it took me a fucking long time to realise that the guy that was taunting Bishop throughout the entire episode was fucking Immortus. And I was like, for God's sake, stop I only realised it at the end when he changed his appearance. And went, oh shit! I was completely missed that was Immortus.
Yeah,
It's like,
the Hobbit guy, not the Hobbit, the hobo guy is a deep cut in the lore. But yeah, if you know, you know, and now you know, you know.
yeah, and I was just like, oh, I completely forgot that I did not realise that was Immortus. But to be fair, when I originally watched that show, I was a kid who'd never actually read the Kang storyline stuff at the time.
Very true, very true.
I just saw him as this weird, crazy dude bullying Bishop. To me,
no, but for me, that does. It is one of the more upsetting parts about what we did get in X-Men '97 because it did leave the whole Immortus thing in the threads of time. Funny enough, but once again, I think that does come down to the fact that if Kang was still a thing, I think we might have got more of Immortus being the reason why Bishop and Cable can't actually get to certain points in time where they want to be, but they get to certain places where they need to be. Yeah, we're it's funny. I also would have thought it'd be a great story point because this is one of the other things that isn't actually ever done in the comic books. To my knowledge, this isn't a story that they've used. But wouldn't it be quite interesting if the reason that both Ramatut and Apocalypse never really took off as the major superpowers that they should have been in those ancient times was because Immortus kept sending people back to cause problems for the both of them at different instances. I'll just send back the Fantastic Four. I'll just send back some X-Men. I'll just send back some Avengers. I'll just send back some Excalibur Force. And it's like, and I was just think that'd be actually quite a funny thing that the person that was tormenting these two superpowers for millennia is Immortus.
Is themselves from the past or their
Because
future?
they could. Well, I mean, because here's the thing. I mean, Immortus would want to keep time or history flowing at a certain rate and certain things happening. Well, if either one of those two became these massive technological superpowers in Egypt back then, all of history would then change. So something had to have kept causing those problems to happen, right? Otherwise, they shouldn't have just happened. Even if their war went on for centuries just amongst the two of them, they would have got more advanced with themselves. Their states would have got bigger.
Oh yeah,
but they didn't. They ended up both losing because random people kept coming back in time to defeat them just when they're about to fully do what they need to do. And I just think it'd be funny that the reason that those random things kept happening would be Immortus going, fuck it. Not today, son. You came close.
not until the time's ready. Which people until no, not until the time's ready.
Yeah, there's
But yeah, in all seriousness though, besides King, the episode today, yesterday, that the opening scene, that opening bit, then you've got Matt investigating it, having a chat with as he's leaving. Then you get that guy Leroy's being arrested, and Leroy, by the way, I absolutely love Leroy. Just
Leroy was funny.
But did you not see even Matt realizing that he's not doing right? He's not doing right. At that bit when he helps Leroy, he's trying to help Leroy the best he can, and he's like, I tried as much as I get, and he's like, I've got you 10 days.
It's like you're saying that's like a gift. Now a lot of people are going to argue this and say, well, no, he was committing crimes. But actually, if you listen to what he's saying, yes, he's committed a crime, but he's like, well, but what is the point? He wouldn't be committing those crimes if he had the ability to get the food stamps and stuff that he needed.
Yeah.
And
They took
the
away his
fact is that nicking $5 worth of food and watching two coppers eat $10 worth of food, he's now going to go to prison at 100, maybe 200 times the price of that food. And it's so much cheaper just to give him the food stamps.
Because he lost them because he went to prison for 30 days last time. And
For
all
20
this...
days, that was the whole...
Yeah. No, he said the last time I did 30 days. He said the last time I did 30 days, I lost my food stamps.
Okay.
And that's the point. It's his thing. That's the thing he's trying to make. The point he was raising is the fact that he lost this stuff, this food stamp stuff that he needed to live, and then that's
Yeah.
He
did. Well, he did. That was the argument he was actually making, is that this wasn't something that he needed to do. It wasn't. But he just wanted something nice. He wanted something that was tasty, not just scrabbling for garbage and throwing away food, which is what he was doing when he didn't have phones for food stamps. He's like, I just wanted something I remembered being good from when I was a kid, and I just wanted some toffee flavoured candy corn. That's it.
Yeah. And it's just like and then you can see Matt even visibly sort of empathizing with him and going, he's realizing that he's getting what the guy's saying. It's just the sheer fact that he's done all this work. This guy's he's not complaining that he's been arrested. He's complaining that it's just that it costs more.
The waste of money. Yeah, it costs more to put him in prison than it would just to give him the probation and give him some food stamps.
Yeah.
And you're kind of set. And then once again, this is another great thing that you see as a mirror to Matt Murdock, because in many ways he is sitting on the other side of this barrier from this guy. He's the lawyer, but he's committed worse crimes.
Yeah.
The other guy's not committing violent crimes. He's stolen food, petty larceny. Matt Murdock as Daredevil and has Matt Murdock as massive beatings, killed someone. At least it'll be manslaughter, if not a homicide. And yet he's a free man. There is almost no consequences for him and to his actions.
And it's
So,
also
yeah,
Matt's also thinking in the same time, going just of it as well. It's just been, what did I? It's also that Matt's realizing that he's not doing enough. Though it's getting more justice. It's like he wants to be. He's trying to live up. You can tell from this episode, the last episode, the other episodes. You can tell that he's not healed over Foggy's death from the first episode.
No way.
You can tell that he's trying to live up to the ideals that Foggy wanted him to, and to not when he because in the original series, a lot of people that haven't watched the original, maybe watching this first time, it's a Marvel show, I'll watch this. You may not have seen the original Daredevil series, or you've watched the original ones, and Foggy wanted him to give up the mask when he found out. When Foggy found out, he wanted him to give it up.
Yeah,
that was the thing.
There's even a couple of lines in the first episode with Foggy when they're mentioning why they moved the witness to a safe house. He's like, because I didn't want to give you an excuse to put the mask back on. And that's when it all goes tits up.
Yeah. And then Matt kicks the and then Foggy goes, and then we all saw what happened. Foggy dies. Matt goes absolutely ballistic on Bullseye.
Yep.
In that first episode, it's just, we're seeing the effects of it, because that event infects in more ways than you see in the first episode. Like in this episode, you get Matt goes back to the scene of the crime where Hector was shot as well. After this, we're not talking about the Fisk storyline stuff because I kind of want to wait to talk about all the Fisk stuff personally until the whole series is out, because I'm intrigued to see where this is going.
Yes, yeah.
The Fisk stuff is really good. Like, it's seeing him like about to, like you think he's about to beat the shit out of that aide in that scene where the aide made a mistake, and the aide straight up is the person that goes, "It was my fault. I did it. I will accept any punishment if you're gonna, like, whatever you will do, I accept. If I will quit, but I will always support you no matter what." Like
Well, weirdly enough, I always thought this character was going in for the, as I say, the Wesley, as we were saying earlier, the Wesley replacement role. But when he stood there, right at the beginning, I want to know who did this, and the guy goes, "It was me." From that moment, I was like, I knew that guy weren't going to get killed. I honestly thought the woman was going to get killed there, and that would be the kid's moment going, "This is what happens to you. He messed this up by not making sure you didn't mess up. Now you don't mess up. Do you understand?" I thought that was going to happen, but it was a different conversation. I definitely didn't think he was going to get killed. Because I honestly thought he's going to be. And I think he is now. He is the new Wesley. He is the new right hand man.
Oh yeah,
he's going to be learning, listening, and doing whatever Fist needs to do.
and he's the one he's the loyal one.
Yeah,
Loyalty. But what's his name? I forget his name.
in real life, I think his name
the character
is...
name.
Oh, I do not know.
I don't know either. Have we actually got his name in the show? Actually, this is the thing.
Yeah, they've said it a few times. In fact, before they called him Captain Planet, they said his name. They have said it a few times.
Yeah, I'm not rewatching it a minute. Bear with me, because this is where I find out his name's Alistair Smythe, and my brain goes, "Oh no."
No, it's not. No, it's definitely. If it was that, I would definitely have.
We'd have both remembered it if it was Smythe. Oh no.
Yeah. Let's find out. Yeah, no, because
Daniel Blake.
Daniel Blake. Why does Blake? Oh, because I think we were talking about Blake Lively earlier.
Yeah.
No,
Michael Gandolfino in it. Feeney in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he played the role of Tony Soprano's son. Yeah.
No, he played the role of Tony Soprano in the prequel to Soprano.
Yeah, but yeah, he played the role of Tony Soprano in like the prequel one. It's like, yeah, it's that guy. He's kind of cool.
Very, very good actor. Weird enough, there is a little scene very early on in this episode in which they're talking about waste management, and he gives a laugh.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I could be wrong. There is no proof of this that I know of. But I really want that to have been something that he put in because of The Sopranos, because the fake job his dad had was in waste management. He's like, "It's waste management. Every time you say that, people think you're mopped up. I'm just in waste management." So yeah, that was a nice thing. I don't know. I hope that was him putting that in as a nod. Yeah, no. So he's definitely the undercut. He's like definitely the.
He's the Wesley replacement, as we said.
Yeah.
The stuff going on with Fisk and Vanessa is a whole other ball game. You know, it's a whole.
Now, what is very interesting about the whole Alistair Smythe thing, though, is that predominantly that character is is part of what happened when Kingpin became a predominantly Spider-Man villain, because
he is. He's the Spider Slayer.
For a majority of people that didn't read comic books and only watched the TV stuff, starting with the animated stuff in the 90s, you would only know Kingpin as being a Spider-Man villain.
Nope, he is a Spider-Man, Daredevil, and Punisher villain.
Yeah, but he started off as a Daredevil villain.
Oh yeah.
Really only became predominantly a Spider-Man one for the animated series, and then Punisher a bit later on because he's the kingpin of crime. It kind of made sense, but yeah, he is.
I will still say
he is a Daredevil.
Yeah, he's Daredevil's main nemesis because Daredevil represent Daredevil. Well, the fun thing about Daredevil as well is also justice is blind, and so is Daredevil. I will never not make that joke.
Oh yeah,
it's the truth. He is.
Yeah, I mean that's. I mean, to be fair, Stan Lee made that joke.
Oh yeah, it's the truth. It is what he's meant to represent. Justice is blind. It's just kind of the running gag with him though. It is the running gag, but it's hilarious.
That's the. In all honesty, that was where it came from. The line of "justice is blind" is where they went, "Well, fuck it, we'll make a blind lawyer, a blind superhero who's a lawyer." It's all there in that one sentence. It's great. I mean, that's what Stan Lee was awesome for. Now, not just him. Stan Lee gets a lot of credit where it's due, and a lot of credit where it shouldn't be. Not that I don't love and respect the dude.
No,
but what he was incredibly good at, one of his great assets, which is a rare asset. And if you've got it and you can work it, you are a genius. The way he was, and it's that he recognised talent. He recognised how to utilise that talent, and then he also knew how to organise that talent with other talented people to get the best. And
oh yeah.
So he didn't have to create Spider-Man. He didn't have to create the Incredible Hulk. He didn't have to create these things because
it's like
found the
example. X-Men started as just literally a way of creating heroes without having to think of silly ways of how they got their powers. They're just born with them, and then they saw that. This actually, the way that they'd handle them, they saw the storylines that was basically the writers took this in the sense of why don't we make these guys the civil rights where people just hate them because they were born with their powers, and it became sort of like this, evolved over time. Yeah, evolved over to become civil rights movement. It is essentially the equality, the movement for people to be essentially now for the X-Men are sort of like. Now the representation of any sort of like marginalised community that's being targeted for no reason other than we don't like the way you look or the way you smell or the way you do X, Y, Z, but like without naming any community because it's everyone that's minorities. It's the whole point of them, but they are a bunch of awesome heroes. I can't wait to see them in the MCU. But back on the topic at hand, which we were talking about, Daredevil.
Yeah. Well, yeah, yes. So we then move on to because we're skipping this stuff. So after the fantastic stuff with Leroy, Daredevil decides it's time. Maybe do a bit of investigating around about the killing of Hector.
Oh yeah. And which he finds, which using his hearing and sound, he figures out where the bullet rolled to.
I thought this scene was absolute genius.
It was the fact that he rolls the bottle and lets it roll down the street.
Even before then, it's the way he gets that because for a start, he's now looking for a bullet casing in a street days after this thing has happened, and there's been a lot of movement, and he's blind. I mean, even with his powers, he can't just see a bullet. Like something has to happen near it, and his radar can maybe pick it up. But what happens is that a bike drives by and flips a crushed miniature bottle lid, and it rolls slightly down the street. So he now knows the street's on a hill. So he looks around for something that can roll, and he finds the bottle that was attached to the crushed lid, and he flicks it over his cane, and it rolls down the hill, and he just listens.
Yeah.
And it drops, and it hits something. So he walks exactly to where that noise was, and that's where he finds a bullet casing.
Yeah, and
rolled.
He checks it he picks it up, and he finds that it's got a certain symbol etched into the side of it.
Yep. The Punisher's logo.
Yeah. To which he decides to go and visit an old friend. And I love this is my favourite scene. The interaction between the two. I was just having a complete fangirl moment of just like completely just like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening. Because it is it is brilliant. It is one of those moments of just like the fact that he comes out of nowhere, immediately comes out and attacks him, and it's like, Frank, it's me. And it's like, and they're having this chat, and Matt is trying to get Frank to help to do something because he can't do it. And Frank,
this is it.
Just calling him out, straight up calls him out for like.
Well, because that was this whole interaction is quite interesting because even when like he points out, oh, I found one of your logos on the bullet casing, and Frank's like, yeah, there's copycats, and even and Daredevil's like, or Matt Murdock's like, well, yeah, I know, and they're coppers, by the way, the police officers. So it's not like he's there to confront Castle about being the killer because he already knew it wasn't Castle. So it does make it interesting as to what his motivation was to actually go there and see him, and whether or not is Castle right. You came here, get permission from me. You want some sort of okay from me to go out and do the things you want to do.
Yeah, and
it's not down to me.
It's not down to me. It's down to you. You have to let go. Also,
you want to do. You've got to understand you want to do it.
The whole conversation between the two of them, though, of him going, of Frank basically pointing out to him that the other guy that killed about, that the reason he's doing what he is because of him. You can't even say his name. Think about it. You can't even say his name, and that's the thing. If you pay attention to the whole thing, Matt won't say his name. I was rewatching. I actually was. I'm thinking of a rewatch, but I actually think, if I remember correctly, there's not one scene where Matt says Foggy's name.
He does at the very end of that conversation with.
No, I mean before that point, there's not one scene. Everyone else, anytime you hear Foggy's name after that point, after the start of the show, someone else. Matt won't, and I think that's the point where I think where you were right. We are going to see him. We had a discussion about this the other day, but let's also talk about the lovely scene prior to this where we see the subway train of someone carrying a body, and both of us like, well, here he comes.
Yes, we've got another glimpse of
our actual bad guy for this series. The main villain of this series and this season. Also, then after that scene, we get halfway through between the Frank when it goes to BB's news report of like the people asking people, and we start seeing bits of the art with now tags with who's done it.
Yes, but also this as a realization that I've just been having, when we've seen some of those artworks before, we've seen the person working on them. We've seen Muse multiple times already throughout this season.
Yep.
He's been. That just hit me because, they're all now like this last episode. We saw them all tagged with Muse, but actually, we've seen the guy painting them.
Yeah.
Which is very, very good. Very good.
Yeah, we're setting up for a very dark villain already because even though you like, I don't think they're gonna. I think we haven't discussed before this, but where you were like, I don't think they're gonna be able to do some of the darker stuff that's coming. And I'm sat there going, considering what happens at the end of this episode, we're not got to that bit yet, so I don't want to discuss that bit just yet.
Yeah. But
go back to the Frank bit. It's like the Frank and him having an argument, and then it's you can see when Frank's talking about it and querying about what happened to Bullseye, and that you can see and talk about Foggy, and you can just see Matt's breaking down it's like he's finally it's like that's it. He's finally realizing and Frank is right. Frank is right. He's asking for his permission to do it, and it's it is this thing. I don't think this is the last we've seen of Frank. Frank is going to show back up in this season.
Yeah, like I said to you earlier, I mean, if this is the last we do see of Frank, and we know it's not, if this is the last we see of him, I'd very happy.
Well, I hope I want John Berthenol to get his own series again. I want another Punisher series. I would love to see them go down that route if this series goes off well enough.
Well, what's interesting is that this is an 18+ rated series.
Mm-hmm.
If this does well for Disney, and I really hope it is doing well. I'm not looking anywhere at the minute, but I hope it is.
Deserves
Yeah,
it.
I think we're definitely going to get a Punisher series.
Because this is what we wanted from the Netflix stuff. This is the Netflix stuff sort of back. Not yet, arguably. Because this is the first season, I will give them that this is probably the writers also trying to find the new writers trying to find their feet to get to that level of tone as the original series. Because remember, the first Daredevil season wasn't the best. It wasn't really till season 2 onwards that Daredevil found its footing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I will agree with you there, but you've also got to remember the big reason that Daredevil was so popular in that first run and why it got all its awards, and also why it became a joke and parodied so much in other shows, was they had mastered basically fighting in a confined space, hallway fighting.
Yeah.
You saw it in a lot of Netflix stuff. And they knew as long as they could get a really good fight scene per episode, people would tune in for the fight.
This.
But the thing is, that did then morph to people tuning in for not only the show, it's the story and stuff that they were giving you.
The
But
fight.
actually, the fights changed into actually really good overall choreography. Because some of those later on fights, and even not only the fights, the way that just characters moved around in certain situations where, you know, you had the Kingpin looming over you and you had no way of defending yourself but standing there, was just awesome. Very well done.
Oh yeah, then we've got with Matt goes back to, you know, leaves the after the castle. Finally, as we said, says Foggy's name himself, talking about him and talking about Foggy as how he's a kind-hearted person, is the most amazing person, you know, like because he's his best, because he was his best friend, and saying that you and me, no matter what no matter how much good in the world we do, we will never amount to the same amount of to a fraction of the good that men like Foggy Nelson can do.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that is the point where I think you possibly realise it, and I realise it. He's about to put the mask back on.
Yeah,
he's accepted this. He has to become, that Daredevil is still needed.
100%. And it's also he's showing that it's a part of his psyche that he can't hold back. And you know, when Frank's pointed out, I'm the same as you. You're not any different from me. You look at me as if I'm some evil thing that you can tame, but actually, me and you are the same thing.
Yeah. It's a thing. It's like he knows the only difference between you and me, between Frank and Matt, is that Frank will kill, Matt won't. Or will he at this point? That is the question.
It is the question.
Are we about to get the Dark Daredevil run of, you know, where he does? Because that is the question. Because it's the point of this part. But also, I will admit, the court scene when he's got the things and he's leaving the court and recognises Powell, you know, the officer that in the previous episode, and the episode before, he's had altercations with. Like at the end of episode 2, he has a fight with him, and without realising it's him. Episode 3 in the bathroom, Powell confronts him and he says, "You fight pretty good for a blind lawyer." And in this episode where he straight up antagonises him because he knows he's the reason Hector's dead. You know what I mean? He knows he's the reason that Hector's dead because of what happened. The cops can't, you know, lose face. And it's like Powell's going to come to blows with him. Let's be honest. We know that's going to happen. But I do think since we are going to get more of Punisher, more of Daredevil, is that I do think one of the predictions we made a couple of weeks ago is going to be the way of Matt will be going after the criminals, the actual criminals that you can go after, and the Kingpins, the illegitimate stuff behind the butt scenes, and it'll be the Punisher's the one that can go after the police. because they're now in the control of Fisk. The biggest criminal they both know. But yeah, Frank, and it's going to be an interesting one. You know. But yeah. But I am going to call the stream today there. We're going to end the podcast here today. And I'm going to say goodbye. Jax is going to say goodbye, I hope.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm silent.
Say goodbye, Jax. And anyway, but yeah, we'll be back in 2 weeks to review the next two episodes. Not review, but to talk about the next two episodes. This is basically our X-Men 97 at the minute. We didn't do this with Ag for all along because, unfortunately, I think I was watching it and you got distracted by other stuff at the time.
Yeah.
It's like, unfortunately, I haven't watched Star Wars Skeleton Crew yet. I need to watch it. I keep meaning to watch it, and then I get distracted. But I will say, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, I absolutely adored the ending. That's what we will talk about next time, a bit more, because we do need to discuss all of that. But I will say goodbye.